Ladies and gentlemen, this Gaming Silicon video. The next generation of consoles is selling fairly well, right? Despite all of the doom and gloom and prophesized end of the consoles, as we know it, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are selling fairly well. Whether this is going to translate over to the PlayStation 5 or Xbox, whatever the hell it's going to be called, who knows, but for now, we are doing pretty well in the sales. To give you a point of comparison, about 2 years after the system's release, the PlayStation 4 that is, it sold about 25 million units. To give you a point of comparison, the PlayStation 2, which sold pretty well, I'm sure you'll agree, it's actually broke some records in its own right. The PlayStation 2 in 2.5 years has managed to sell 20 million units. That's pretty impressive, I'm sure you'll agree. Now, Shuehei Yoshida is still a little nervous of the system's success. He says to Eurogamer, and I quote, "Well, it depends on how you look at things." When he was asked about, the success of the systems. Typically, it's ironic in a sense, when a platform's doing well, the studio side of things kind of struggles. It probably has some relationship to these two. When a platform's doing well, third-party support is more. So from a pure software standpoint, there'll be more competition. When the platform's not doing well, our games become more prominent, and we continue to support the PS3. In the launch year, the PS4 still had The Last of Us, Gran Turismo 6 and beyond, and so on. Many of the games, we are still working hard. We're just head down, focused on delivering the games for the near future. We're happy with how it's going now, and we're excited about welcoming PlayStation Virtual Reality, PlayStation VR. Am I the only one that really liked the name Project Morpheus, but I guess the name PlayStation Morpheus didn't really work, right? Anyway, back to the quote. From delivering a game standpoint, we have a lot of work to do. People constantly ask us about big, exclusive AAA games. For a second, let's actually talk about virtual reality as well. I think that's a good thing, because a lot of gamers are kind of on the fence about virtual reality, especially on consoles. Particularly when we've heard about the pricing point of PlayStation VR and all that stuff. So how is it going to work? Well, is it going to be popular? Well, Shuhei said, and I quote, "As far as VR for the future is concerned, I have no question that a few years everyone will be using some type of VR tech as part of their lives. Even outside of entertainment systems, it's a new technology and new media. How well PlayStation VR will do is a big question. We believe it has a unique position in this effort. I always say that we're not just competing against other companies like Valve or Oculus, we are almost collaborating to make these things happen and get people to try and get excited and talk about this to other people, because we're focused on delivering the VR experiences to the game console as opposed to to PC or mobile. And that's their focus, and we're covering those bases together. In that, we can deliver the system, how easy it is to use, how comfortable, how exciting the contents are, the price point is right for the consumer, all those things. It's an effort, and I hope PlayStation VR will do extremely well. As a developer, I'm super excited about the potential using of VR tech. I feel like working on PlayStation VR is like when we were working on the original PlayStation 20 years ago. When we were very excited to use 3D real-time graphics for games. After 20 years, we're still making things even bigger, better 3D games. So I think for the long-term future of VR entertainment for the upcoming 20 years. Now actually, I kind of agree with him. You see, there's a lot of talk between not just gamers actually, even some developers have made some comments which is kind of like, Oculus versus Valve and Valve versus Sony, and the bottom line is when you're trying to launch a new market, you can't necessarily be cutting at each other's Achilles tendons as you're launching. You really need to ensure that the gamers themselves are happy, and it's basically you're building at this point, you are literally forging a new future. It's like when 3D graphics were a thing back in the day. It's absolutely staggering, and this is me putting on some rose-tinted glasses for a second, but the PlayStation is 20 years old. I was really young at the time, but I owned a PlayStation and I owned a Sega Saturn. I regularly played on an N64, I regularly played on a gaming PC. And you know what I noticed back then? It's like, you go back and you look at those games, and yes, they look ragged. Yes, they've got low resolution textures. Yes, they've got low poly counts and all of that stuff. And the lighting wasn't great. But back in the day, it was a revolution. And now with we've gone down this road where we've managed to... It's just staggering, the level of detail that we're managing to throw in. I mean, for goodness sake, look at the Cry demo. Look at the Witch demo, I'm sorry, from Square Enix. That's rendered in real time. Yes, it's using a ridiculous amount of computing power. Yes, it's using, you know, a couple of Titans to run it. But who cares? The fact of the matter is, in a couple of years' time, those Titans are going to be the standard GPUs for a PC. And it's the same for consoles, like the next generation PlayStation, whatever it's going to be. They're going to be staggeringly powerful compared to this technology. So, while VR at the moment is kind of in its infancy, who knows where the next generation of VR is really going to take us, and I think it's a really cool time. Moving back to the PlayStation sales, however, kind of backtracking if you will, I actually agree with him in a sense. It's like, I think the PlayStation 4 has sold well for a myriad of reasons. I think some of it is somewhat to do with the hype train. I think that they kind of just jumped on it. I think they got their marketing really on point. Like, the original PlayStation smashed the Saturn for a couple of reasons, but one of them was the marketing. Now, Microsoft, in their credit, are managing to hold on there. They're selling the Xboxes at a reasonable pace, but the PlayStation is a real runaway success. And it's not because, yes, it's got slightly better hardware, but it's not like it's, you know, 4 times more powerful or anything like that. It's that they have managed to market the system really well. They have the exclusives, they have the mindshare. And I think, as well, Microsoft did make a couple of mistakes. Like, we all know about the whole always online thing, which obviously they did quickly fix, but it did do some damage, and Sony managed to get some brownie points with gamers. Personally speaking, I'm really looking forward to the next generation of systems, or rather to see what this generation of systems can put out. I think in the next couple of years it's going to be a very interesting landscape, and Sony have screwed up a couple of times. Like, at the moment, the exclusives on Xbox One are really strong. I genuinely do think that this year you've got some pretty good ones. The PlayStation 4 has got quite a lot of remasters, and I'm not criticising Sony for it because, you know, I've been playing a little bit of the demo of Uncharted and it's pretty nice, it really is. But it still has some of the old generation issues, like you've still got the clipping problems and all this stuff that they can't really fix because at the end of the day it is a remaster. Do I have a problem with it? No. I think that the system's doing really well. And, yeah. But anyway, I've kind of rambled a bit. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.